What's going on, speculators? Let's fire up the Futures Fanatic live stream for the afternoon of Tuesday. It is Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Want to remind everybody this broadcast is for educational purposes only. Please make sure that you read the risk disclosures and disclaimers. It's for mostly simulated trading as well in prop programs, which are simulated environments and should not be expected to be replicated in a live brokerage environment. Some of you might be happy that I moved the orientation of my microphone. I don't prefer it this way, but we'll see if the sound stays better when I'm looking up like this at the screen. All right. So I think we're just all sitting here waiting for NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. A little bit of a sleepy market, had some nice two-way action. I'm starting the afternoon session short the S&P real small, and then short a little NASDAQ in here as well, as you can see on the screen in the prop shop accounts. Keeping it pretty small and manageable there. Over here on this screen over here, also if I can just get a one in the chat for picture and sound, sounds like we're good, thank you. Got you guys well trained. That's my Kerpos over there, just short a one lot. And I'm targeting right here. On NinjaTrader and soon on TickBlaze, you can go and put a volume profile on your stand lane charts if you wanted to, and that'll show you where. I don't know if you can see this orange line right here, right? That's VPOC. That way, I don't have to necessarily reference the range trader, which I can if things start to get a little crazy. I can go up and reference the range trader. So why don't we just hang out here on Ninja for a second? Don't suspect there's going to be a whole lot of price action that we can do a whole lot, but we shall see. See what we can get going here.
Order modified.
I think I have a little bit bigger position in this account right here, which I want to take that off.
Order filled.
Didn't realize I had a 3-lot there. That's a little too big. So we'll watch the 2-lot here. And on a 2-lot, be targeting the
order submitted
plus ones and then the VPOC down there. Oh, no, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, could be a disaster here on the microphone. The whole damn thing almost freaking fell over. There we go. All right, we're back. Hopefully we're back. All right. So switching up here, looking to exit the short on the NASDAQ, which really couldn't get above, the NASDAQ couldn't get above its POC right there. So couldn't get the NASDAQ to get above, not POC, prior sessions POC. So prior session POC was like right here, over here. If we go to the NASDAQ, it's right there. So we had that marked. I know my head's in the way, There you go. So I think I can just kind of go like that and then go over here so we can just look at whichever one. But anyway, that was the prior POC there at 23,550. We really couldn't get through it. So see if that serves as resistance. If the bulls get their way in this next hour, start to be buying ahead of NVIDIA tomorrow, it would be interesting to see if we can get a sustained trade above 600. But for right now, I think we favor some shorts in here. Good evening from Germany. It was about 9 p.m. in Germany. 9 p.m. over there in Germany. Yeah, small ranges today. I said in the morning in our trade room that we're essentially just looking at finally the sleepy week before Labor Day. All the real players are out in the desert taking drugs. Oh, my Burning Man passed. Anyone been to Burning Man? I went for about 10 years in a row. Quick shout out to my editing team, by the way, too. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with the goodness, but if you come over here to YouTube, and this might be picture within picture because you're on my YouTube channel right now. But if you go over to my shorts right here, got a lot of new little snippets that come mostly from this broadcast. In this latest snippet, I was talking about the fact that we are in the golden age of simulated futures prop trading, which this simulated part never really existed before in terms of your ability to get paid. And so that latest clip I was just talking about how in the past when I was educating, I was teaching the same thing, but we didn't have the micros and we didn't have prop accounts and we didn't have copiers and we didn't have all these choices across all these firms. So really the landscape has changed. Anyway, if you end up, if you're not already subscribed, and you can do all that good stuff, turn on the bell notification. Yeah, the other one about the 10 companies that are just all trading with each other, offering the same. So you just make a choice. Am I going to be in the Amazon cloud, or am I going to be in the Microsoft cloud? Am I going to buy services from Apple, or am I going to buy services from Microsoft? We're all buying NVIDIA chips. Facebook is poaching talent from every company, trying to stay ahead of the AI game, since they'll probably be laying off half their workforce. It's not an exaggeration, everybody. It really isn't. So it's going to be interesting next couple of years. I think there's a 30-40% chance that AI is completely overhyped and will fall flat on its face for a little while. And then there's at least a 50% chance that that a lot of really smart people lose their jobs. Hey, another thing I wanted to highlight is for members, and if you're not a member of TDG, you're really missing out. But I've created a channel over here called Kerpos. For those that don't hear what I'm saying the word Ker and then Pos. I'll put it in here. Kerpos, which is short for current positions. So I've created a little channel over here that you can follow along with what I'm doing. And currently I'm long MBT from 10,500. I still have all those. And we're up trading around close to 12,000. But the one I really wanted to talk about was CRO. So first of all, let me read the disclaimer. There are many actual trades and positions. These are my actual ones. Shared for entertainment and curiosity purposes only. This is not financial advice. In fact, if you blindly copy me, you're more likely to end up broke. I win sometimes, I lose a lot, but either way, it's just for funsies, okay? Trade at your own risk. And remember, the only guaranteed part is that most market trading will end in regret. That being said, I don't know how much easier it gets potentially than this, which is that Trump media is going to establish some sort of a entity that buys CRO. So fortunately, I already had about 500,000 CRO. I had about 350, and now I have about 500,000 CRO. So again, not financial advice. Do your own research. Do whatever you want. Buy XRP, short Bitcoin, do whatever you want. But if we're going to live under probably the most corrupt regime of all time, why not try to make money off it when they make public announcements about what they're buying? So there you go. And if you're not familiar with CRO, it's the token of crypto.com, which is a viable exchange and of course still has the naming rights to they're on the crypto.com arena in downtown LA. I thought for sure that the moment they named that, it would be essentially the end of crypto.com. So question about the best VPS. I'm doing a deal with Quant VPS that I'll be announcing pretty soon. So it's going to be with Quant VPS, and it will essentially have a server preloaded with Ninja, TickBlaze, some copiers, Probably some software added to both those different platforms if you want to license that. So a little bit of everything. Little zombie creep hire here. I mentioned the move would be up to probably the 600s to 620s, but we'd probably have a first stop around 570s, which is the +2s up here. But remember, friends don't let friends trade the zombie crawl on the NASDAQ. It's easier to handle in the MES, so I'll just stay there. I do have one position on here on the Dow too. Which account? Hold on. Yeah, these are my only evals. So I have these. What's this firm called? Blue Sky.
Order filled.
Let's just fire those off. By the way, the target would be the same place here, rather than target the +1s. Since I have the profile on here, I'm going to target right here. Okay, this line right here.
Filled.
Yeah, so it'll be quant VPS. I'm also short the ZN really small from 112 spot 70, which is right where we're trading right now. I'm short that live. If there's any treasury traders, 112.75. I'm short the underlying, but I'm short 112 puts. So I don't know how you guys like to look at that. Is that a covered call? Is that a married put? Is that a reverse corgi fart? I'm not sure. You guys can decide. I remember when I got into this this fun little comment thread with this guy that said, I've done this, and options for this amount of time, and your terminology is saying short a call and short a put is not a thing. It's confusing. It's like, oh, really? Okay, sorry. So when I say something like STO, sell to open, what am I if I sell to open something? Feels like I'm short that, but I don't know. You do you, boo. Tell me how it's, yeah, that's what it is. It's a fib taco spiral is what it is, baby. Fib taco spiral. If you guys do have any questions, fire them off now, because this is looking like, unless we get a little movement, the best way to get the markets to move is for me to threaten that I'm just going to shut down a stream or close the room, and then sometimes we'll get some movement. But we're going to probably have some sleepy days. Tomorrow, I think into the NVIDIA print is probably going to be a little bit more interesting. If you STO a put, you're long the put. What happens if you buy the put? Aren't you long a put? Everything had a really small range today. Not a whole lot. We're finally getting outside the bands here, right near the close. So it's very, very easy for buyers to push into that range from Friday. Very easy to push into that range from Friday. That's right. No one puts me in a range. No one corrects me. First time here, what do you call your chart layout? Well, if it's your first time here, I highly recommend, that's why I leave this thing in the bottom right-hand corner. I have an ebook called Prop Done Right, and about 80% of it focuses on how to do prop programs right, understanding that it's not the notional value, understanding that you can't trade minis, understanding how to eventually leverage yourself across accounts using copiers instead of in a single account, how to trade high probability strategies in a way that will keep your emotional capital under control. So all that's in that book. So the best way to learn about this stuff is to start with that book. And then in that ebook, you'll be introduced to, at a high level, to these two strategies. The chart you're looking at is called the Stay in Your Lane. It's using a modified Renko bar. So we're getting outside the bands here, so it's starting to really push, as you can see. But again, we're in a micro, so it's going to be a manageable position. And then the other chart is called the range trader right here. So this is the range trader, and the range trader is a 30-minute volume profile that gives us some higher profile, higher time frame kind of looks, if you will.
Order filled.
So stay in your lane and the range trader, and they're predominantly used as mean reversion strategies. So like on this Dow short right here, the level for an ad is going to be up here at the prior POC. I'm probably just going to keep a 2-lot on here, but you could add one more up here at 45,471. You can measure exactly what your risk is in terms of where you'd be from a dollar perspective. But this overall trading style is also appropriate, if you will, for these types of programs that were...
Order canceled. Position synchronized. Position closed. Position open.
So the idea here, I'll add one here at this level so you can just sort of see the functionality of that.
Order
there.
Submitted.
So we got one there and then one here.
Order submitted.
Now notice I don't have a stop here. I just have the ad right here. Let me just add one right here right now.
Order filled.
So right here. So you do not have any trade here on the stay in your lane. That's why these two things are complementary. There's no trade here because you're outside the bands, right? If you're just purely trading the stay in your lane, once you get outside the bands, you're just managing risk, okay? In this particular account today, I'm up $170 or something like that. So that is a factor that I consider. I do not want to let this trade eat into a large percentage either of my profits or of my daily risk budget. But if I'm profitable then, and I do have another level up here, I'll add one more up here. Okay, it's not adding to a loser. But if there was no level over here, okay, if there was no level here, let me just make this a little smaller. So there we go. If there's no level up here, which is, by the way, this level up here is the prior session POC, the prior session's VPOC, which we really didn't trade around very much yesterday. Essentially, the Dow just opened and started to fall, right? So now they're just filling the whole thing back in here. That's right. It is called Unicorn Farts Over the Mountain. And I'm hopeful that this just moves through and then moves through 45, 480, and then I can get into graceful exit mode and just see how I manage this unprofitable position. But again, hopefully you're seeing, if you're freaking out over $46 or $47 or whatever, there's probably a problem there, right? That's why we trade the Dow Jones. That's why we trade micros. So on the MES, I have a 1 lot short still over here, and sorry, a 2 lot short there. I need this one here. 2 lot short here. And we're already through the prior session's POC. So I can get short anywhere in here if I'd like. I would have taken that trade
Order
if I'd seen
submitted.
it. So I'll just short the high over there.
Order filled.
Had a great Trader Talk Tuesday today with a relatively new member, Kevin from Wisconsin. So thank you, Kevin, if you're listening to this. Thank you for joining us for that. We'll have Trader Talk Tuesdays every week in our trade room where we talk to various members of the community, newer ones and veterans. And he was mentioning that he had a lot of success right out of the gate. And then inevitably, of course, the market teaches you nothing is that easy. And he ended up ratcheting down his DRB, which stands for daily risk budget, to just like $100 or $150 a day. Now that is really, really tight to stay within. But that kind of discipline to see if you can stay focused on just one thing, which is never losing a lot. Because let's say that you really, really were not following any kind of strategy and you're just randomly in the market, but you never
Order
allowed
filled.
yourself to lose more than $100 and you hit the close button every single time. It really becomes like a coin flip, and you could have 5 losing days in a row, which wouldn't even make up for one. Hold on a second. I just realized I have my freaking ear
Order
pieces in.
filled.
Anyway, you could lose 5 days in a row and not even be more damaged than someone who trades one mini and it goes 10 points against them. And they risk 25, 35% of their account in a single trade. Right? So I had suggested to him that he can do that for a while, but then maybe instead go back, take your risk budget back up to $250 or $300 for the day and just have the discipline to say, you know what, I'm never going to allow any trade to be more than a third of my daily risk budget. So like $80. So for instance, if I had implemented that particular rule in either of these two trades, so this one is down $35 and this one is down $46. Talk about the easiest thing to do. I don't need any rule. I don't even need to look at a higher time frame. I don't need to be concerned or even stressed out about whether it reverses here. One of the things that I pride myself on and being, because I watch other streams and everything, everyone feels like they need to constantly think and talk about what's happening. Oh, will it reverse or will it not reverse, or it looks like this or it looks like that. None of us know. It's all random. Who cares? I don't care. I never even care when I have huge size on. I do not care. What I care about is having a framework that I can always, the other thing about that is I don't even need a stop in on either of these trades, right? I don't need to stop. If this number starts to creep up to $80, or if this number starts to creep up to $80, I hit this close button and I'm done with those trades. Who cares? Right? The other thing about managing it this way is there's no way, and of course this is all simulated trading, but a real thing in real markets is, of course, liquidity, and of course areas in which predatory algos will, the easiest thing you could ever code up is just parse the tape, look for all small size, understand where the vast majority of small size is, and just go run that small size, knowing that, you know, your average piker who's maybe in a 5 lot, and by the way, this is not happening to you as a prop trader on a sim account because those orders are not on the exchange, right? But in the real world, if you were really slinging around 3, 5, 10 ES, obviously that footprint's on the tape, right? And how much pain can you take on that? Who knows? Maybe $1,000, $1,500, $2,500. So just go find out where everyone's hanging out, run all that stuff, and then reverse it or move on from there. Who cares? I don't know the exact logic that they're using. But in our little silly carnival world of sim trading where none of this is real, this also doesn't matter. I don't have to have a stop there. I don't have to worry about where a logical place would be for the stop because my stop is risk-based, right? It's value at risk. It's a VAR-based portfolio type of thing. I'm only willing to risk 1/3 of my daily risk budget on any given trade. Whether I have 1 contract, 2 contracts, 10 contracts, it doesn't matter. The other thing that I'll hear sometimes when I'm trying to make things as simple as possible is a chat pro will come out and say something. I think sometimes they're well-intentioned, they're just misinformed. They'll say, well, you can't teach stuff like that because that makes people not confident in their strategy, not confident in their levels. What a bunch of nonsense. I can play pocket aces. By the way, I'm just going to hit the close button
Order
here.
filled.
Okay, so I'm hitting the close button there. I'm out of this short because I already have a short in the Dow. Why be in correlated markets, right? So I'm not letting that one eat into my profits. That account's up $50. Okay. And by the way, I just made this up on the fly. I don't really have an $80 risk per trade in this particular account, but I'm going to abide by it today. Just make it up on the fly. But does this make sense, everybody? You see how everybody is overcomplicating everything. You're overcomplicating everything. Here's the order. Daily risk budget. Daily risk budget does not exceed 10% of your account. If your account starts with $2,500, it's a $250 risk budget. If you're fortunate enough to grow that $1,500 more, and now you start the day with a $4,000 daily risk budget, you can keep it simple and say now you have a $400 daily risk budget. You've earned the right to increase your daily risk budget. The way I actually teach is until you have 22 days of real data. All you guys out there trying to pass by the way, let's take one
Order
here.
filled.
Okay. So everyone's out there trying to, and by the way, I closed out this trade up here. I don't give 2 shits if it reverses or anything. It doesn't matter. I combined the loss here with the loss here. These are in 2 different accounts, by the way. But so back to my train of thought. 10% of your starting account balance. I am trying, and I will succeed. I think it might even happen at Apex first, and I know a lot of people think that Apex is the black sheep of trading now. They're still one of the best firms out there. But I'm hoping it's Apex. Maybe it'll be Prop Shop. Maybe it'll be Take Profit. I'm not sure. But my dream account's going to be, you have 5 different types you can choose from. A $1,500 account, a $2,500 account, a $5,000 account, and a $10,000 account. Give me one in the chat based on what I'm about to describe as to whether you would buy this, because all the firms think no one would buy this. $1,500 account, $2,500 account, $5,000, $10,000. Account starts at 0 balance. Let's say you bought the $2,500 account. In the $1,500 account, you can trade 3 micros. That's the max. It would be limited so you couldn't overtrade that. If you try to put on another one, that's it. You have 3 micros, and you have a 25% DRB to start. Okay, so I'm not very good at math, but on the $2,500 account, what is that? $750, right? That's a huge freaking DRB. That's your soft DRB. $1,500, you can trade 3 micros. $25, you can trade 5 micros. $5,000, you can trade 10 micros, 1 mini, and 10,000 you could trade 20 micros. Are you ready for that? A $10,000 account. That's the size of the account that at Prop Shop or whatever you can trade 30 minis or something like that. Okay? There's a soft daily loss limit, soft, which starts at 25% of your starting account balance. Now, what you should do is cut that yourself to 10%, but they give you 25%. So if you take your full 25% loss 4 days in a row, of course, you're gone, right? You're out. Your daily loss limit increases as your account size increases. So if you grow it, it's still 25% of whatever your starting account balance is. And guess how many rules there are? None, zero, nothing. You want a dollar cost average. You want to donkey down into all 5 of your contracts. You want to trade 2 things against each other. Who cares? You can do whatever you want. Then when it comes to payouts, okay? When it comes to payouts, you're not allowed to hit your DRB more than 3 times. If you hit your DRB more than 3 times, you do have to start over. Because that's just a little bit of random chance. So in other words, if you drew down 25% of your account 3 times, even though you still have money left and you went and you would not pass that account. Once you pass the account, you're instantly, there's no buffer, there's no nothing. You can take a payout when you reach a minimum of $250. And you can take it out as often as you want, whenever you want. That's the way this thing should all work. And if I deliver a cohort, if you guys spread the word about this, if we could build a program like this, don't worry about what it costs. It probably costs like $99 with no activation fee. We can build a program like this. Apex, Take Profit, Prop Shop, they wouldn't have to worry about us. We would just be cash flowing machines. Some of us, not all be. I mean, you still have to learn how to trade. You have to learn how to be a trader. But the other thing is that now you have established risk-adjusted returns, and you're also building a skill that you could take into a live market immediately. You could take 5,000 of your own money, trade it exactly the same with no more than 10 micros or 1 mini, with a $500 daily risk budget. Okay? That's the 10%, not 25%, which would be $1,250, right? $500 daily risk budget. Okay? You don't have to worry about setting up a max loss. You can change it if you want. Oh, by the way, and there's no trailing drawdown either. It's end of day. So it's end of day, right? No trailing drawdown, end of day. Trade however you want. 1 rule, soft daily loss limit. Actually, 2 rules. If you hit your daily loss limit 3 times, you did fail the account. Also, no resets. If you fail the account, you have to buy another one. Fuck these resets bullshit. These cheap resets. No, there has to be consequences. If you fail the account, you got to buy a new one. Anyone short the Dow in here with me? I'm shorted over here too.
Order filled.
You know what's amazing is, I don't know when you turned on the stream, but did I have this yellow line here the entire time? Right? Was this yellow area here the whole time? Give me 1 in the chat if this was here the whole time. You know what it's derived from? It's derived from right here, the prior session's POC. So what I was telling before is if we didn't have this, you cannot be doing ads in the Dow Jones here. But since we have this, I can be doing ads in the Dow Jones.
Order submitted.
Anyway, that's my little vision of...
Order modified.
By the way, we want to come up here for a second. You can see trading these levels right here.
Order modified. Order filled. Position closed. Order
Okay.
modified.
Just took that off. Did have some losses on some shorts that got closed up there. I hate these $25 resets and all this stuff. I hate all of it. Yeah, micros only, literally zero rules except for a daily loss limit. You know why all these firms remove their daily loss limit? Well, traders don't like it. Traders in. Sure, they were like, well, fine, screw you guys. The moment Top Step took those off, they quadrupled their revenue because there's the vast majority of traders prefer to use their DRB, their entire account balance as their DRB. Yeah. So I like that term. Micros only, zero rules, instant payouts. And let's say you bought 5 of them for $99 each, right? That's a $500 investment. Subscribe to my channel, turn on the like button or hit the like button, notify, grab my ebook, find more about my teaching and training, invest a year in this, and that $500. And my commitment to you is I will show you how to cash flow the hell out of those things for as long as this carnival game exists. You have got to please take advantage of this while it exists. You have to. And by the way, we don't really need that program because you can create that program yourself. You can buy a $50K account and do everything I just said yourself. Don't exceed 5 micros. Stick to a DRB of 10%, not 25%. Buy a couple of them. Use copiers. You can do all this yourself right now. The downside is that you do have to be, there's this bullshit going on at Take Profit that I can't get a hold of them. Like they've brought back this DCA stuff with a vengeance where they're killing people's live pro funded accounts because they have one MES and one MNQ in opposite directions at one point. But by the way, as I've often pointed out, that is encouraged in live markets. They will give you span margin for that. Hedging is a good thing. These firms have bastardized it and teaching traders that somehow they have to trade in ways that are not actually natural. We have to fix that. So right now at Apex and Take Profit and Prop Shop and a bunch of other places, not at the futures desk, by the way, there's no DCA. The futures desk is really the closest to what I'm talking about currently in existence. So if you want an account like that, go get one at the futures desk. You can use the code TDG. No, I know they answer the live chat on their website. I'm trying to get a hold of James and the team again. I want to speak to them directly. By the way, you guys see I'm going to take another one right here.
Order filled.
And another one right here.
Order filled.
Okay. Put MYM in there if you are short the MYM, especially if you got this price right up here. That's fantastic. And by the way, celebrating the success, great, the trade's going our way. Who gives a shit? What I outlined before was, hey, I'm not going to risk, in real time I said, hey, I'm not going to risk more than $80 or 1/3 of my DRB. By the way, my DRB is not $250. My DRB is $600, $400 to $600. It wasn't even applying here, but we were hypothetically saying, based on what Kevin said today, where he's working with a $100, $150 DRB, why don't we change that? We'll keep our DRB at $300 and we'll say, but I'm not going to let any particular trade violate more than that. So all I have to worry about is what is my DRB? What is my P&L for the day? And is playing with house money or all this stuff wrong? No, of course not. In fact, that's how poker really works. You make decisions based on how many chips you have in front of you. If you're not making decisions based on how many chips you have in front of you, you're not playing the game properly. We are playing poker. We are not playing chess. So if you're up $600 on the day, okay? If you're up $600 on the day, do you have to close a trade that's down $100? No, because it's not eating into your DRB at all. It's eating into your profits. We're making this stuff so complicated. Now, I know that giving back profits, being what's called upstuck in poker, Sucks, and people hate that. And it's not a good process, and it's not a good thing to do. But I think you're picking up what I'm putting down. By the way, we got the MES starting to come in a little bit now as well, which is good. So it sounds like some of you guys are, this shit is chess, it ain't checkers. All right, so someone's short the MNQ from the +2s to right here. That's a nice trade. Why don't I get in that with you again and see if they run it back up here?
Order submitted.
Yeah, I've heard that. I will inform them of their incorrect analysis. Hedging is not allowed in silly stuff like Forex and CFDs and stuff like that. But who cares what those rules are? Yeah, what I gotta be sure of is that if we came out with a program like this, you guys would buy it. Got to see if there would be enough. Because I'll tell you what worked. Prop Shop said, "Hey, you can have 10 direct to funded accounts for $1,500, 150 account, or you can have a buy one get one free evaluation for 30 or 40 bucks each with no." So people love that. The thing with these programs, if we put something like that together, you couldn't really discount it. You can't discount it. Because you have to make it cost enough that the behaviors are such that you do not violate your daily risk budget more than 3 times. Because if you do, you have to buy another account, and that's costly. The only thing that it would inherit from the existing way things do, and by the way, please send all your love letters and donations, because all of this free reset on your subscription renewal is because of yours truly right here. I'm the guy that introduced that whole thing to the business, told Top Step to do it way back in 2014 or 15, and it took them about 5-6 years to implement it, but then they were the leaders, the first at doing that. Now everyone does it. So does Trade Day have a hedging rule? I do not have any Trade Day accounts right now, so I can't speak to their rule set. I know for a while they had they just now introduced more than one account, which is great, and I think they still have news rules and other things. So I'm not sure though. All right, let's go back to a place where I'm actually in a trade, which is the Dow Jones. We got 2 more minutes till our market and close. I bought the Prop Shop Trader just because I wanted to find out about your trade copier. My trade copier. I don't have a trade copier. Is ETP pretty crappy? Yeah, it is. Is Thor currently not great yet? Yes. Both of them are not great yet. See, Eagle Flying, I just disagree with that. You don't need to learn how to trade in a live account. Why? What's the why? I've made over $160,000 this year from tiny little ass accounts at 20 prop firms. I've made more than that in my live accounts, but they're significantly bigger. So, and all I'm doing in those, by the way, I do nothing different. I've told you guys this. I'm showing you right on the screen in these streams. I don't know what else you need to know. Do this same trade that's a $20 winner right now. If the market goes up, maybe it becomes a $20 loser. Copy that across 10 accounts. How in the world is that not better than having 5,000 or 10,000 of my own money at risk? I don't get it. By the way, I did get a NASDAQ short on here, I think.
Order filled.
These prop programs are the greatest thing to ever happen to your opportunity to generate profits in the market. There is no possible way, unless you have $150,000 of actual risk capital, that you could generate anything close to what you can do in these programs. Anything close. And I mean consistently. Can you put on full size, buy a bunch of accounts from various firms, trade in 2 different directions, follow a bunch of these people on YouTube that talk about their total cost as a business, that their whole goal is to take advantage of these programs the way they're set up. They trade completely differently than you normally would trade. All this total bullshit that's not useful. What I don't understand about the way people look at this is that it's no different than all kinds of different businesses and business opportunities and things. You can make the most of the opportunities that are put in front of you instead of just blanketly saying, oh, you know, you're better off doing this, you're better off doing that. What you're better off doing is understanding how to manage risk using math, and then I don't care how you trade. If you end up doing the same thing in a small account with your own live money and a 10% daily risk budget on $5,000, and you really, really, really stick to that 10% daily risk budget, and you really only trade micros, because guess what? With your own live account, you can't trade anything but micros, right? Strong close from the NASI here. It might get up to the 600s. So if you have $5,000 and I have $500 to buy 5 prop programs and do the same thing, within 90 days, I'm going to leave you in the dust on a risk-adjusted basis, because you have 5,000 and I have 12,500, 12,500, 15,000 if you added up all of the drawdown that I have in all those accounts. I'm going to leave you in the dust. You got no chance. Strong close again from the NASI. Ooh, I'm tempted to short it, but I'm not going to. The max position size is whatever you can put on to stay within your DRB. If you have a $250 daily risk budget, generally that's like 2 to 3 Dow Jones, 1 to 2 MES, no NASDAQ. If you get your risk budget up to 500 to 600, you can probably have 4 to 6 Dow Jones on and 2 to 3 MES and no NASDAQ.
Order filled. Position open. Order pending.
So questions that like which prop has the quickest path to payout, who cares? I really don't care. That should not be one of the criteria that you're looking at. What I'm teaching here is you do it this way and you can cash flow any program, any rules, anything. Is there currently a little bit of a hassle around some of these silly hedging rules and stuff that you got to work your way around? Yes. Is it perfect? Of course not. There goes the Dow. Man, they really want to get long in here, huh? All right, I'm going to add another one here.
Order filled. Order filled.
Well, yeah, someone's saying these programs let you scale and decide. These programs, if you do them within the parameters that they provide, you're ridiculously over leveraged, and you're gonna blow up. You just got zero chance. Yeah, so the thing I don't teach on all that much, as opposed to what I just sort of said off the fly, which is just decide to have your risk per trade not exceed a third of your DRB. You start to do stuff like this, and you really don't even have to get into the minutia of risk per trade. You don't even have to get into the minutia of risk per trade. MES, one for the roses up there, pushing into all that range from the from Friday. So remember on the Dow Jones here, we're now above this particular level, so I have no additional adds. All I can do is stay in graceful exit mode, or I could implement the same thing I mentioned before, which is, let's say that I was not going to let this trade be more than $80 against me. I'll just sit here and watch it, and if it gets to 80, I'll just hit the close button.
Order filled. Order filled.
So discipline is not only not hitting your DRB or implementing something like a risk per trade that might be a percentage of your DRB, but it's also when we were below the prior session POC, there was a level for me to short here. We're now above it. I have no additional levels. If I were to add one in here or add another in here, I could get lucky. I can lower my cost basis. I can double down donkey. And if it reverses in here into the close, great. I look like a hero. I got lucky, whatever. No. Have the discipline also to go, we are outside the bands, okay? We're outside the bands. We are outside any logical level. Now you can go, oh, well, let me just look left at the profile from from Monday, and how about I just pick, 611 as my next level, right? Another $100 of risk to the upside. No, you can't do that.
Order filled.
Okay? I don't have any choice here but to just look for a graceful exit. What gets people in trouble when I talk to people a lot, I get killed and mean reversion, and when it starts to go, I get frustrated, whatever. Just figure out a way to just, I don't know what else to do. Just don't do that. Just go, say to yourself, all right, all I got to worry about is this number getting to $80. That's the only thing I have to do is hit the close button. Oh, there's two things I have to do. I have to recognize that I do not have the right to add an additional contract here. Okay? I don't have the right to add an additional contract. What I'm going to do now is gracefully
Order
exit
filled.
there. So now I've lowered my overall risk exposure here as it is.
Order filled.
And now, since I'm so small, I don't even care what the close is here. I could watch it for another minute or two and I don't know if you were watching, I was certainly paying attention to this. I had a short on in both these accounts that was up maybe $60, $70, and I just chose to keep that inventory on. You don't have to do that. You don't have to let it come all the way back up, right? You can manage that trade however you want. So, all right, are there any other questions? So no average, you have to have a level. In order, you have to follow a framework, okay? So you have to have a level. So what I don't want to do ever in front of anybody in these live streams, even though I have a bigger DRB, even though these accounts are profitable for the day, even though of course I could have added another one up there as was spiking outside the bands. Those are all things that are outside the framework. If there was another level on the range trader, sure, I could have worked that additional level. There's no additional level up here. We're above the prior session's POC. We are shorting a bull continuation pattern. Just don't do that. I'm short. Okay, let me see if I can work my way out of this trade as a graceful exit. Where people get in trouble is they find ways to continue to fight a unprofitable position. Or they'll put a stop in that's sort of, you know, a swing high or made up or whatever, instead of just going, you know what, I'm going to use my stop as a value-based stop, value at risk. How much am I risking on this trade relative to what my DRB is? Technically, on this account, I'm not risking anything relative to my DRB because the account is up $169. So if I go and close this right now,
Order filled.
it's up $169. Right? This one right here is up $70. Does the copier allow you to trade prop shop accounts in Ninja or TraderView? No. Confused with the 30% of DRB. If trading the MNQ and selling at +1, if price goes to +2, you're stopped instead of adding at +2. I don't know. It depends on what your profit or loss is on that trade. This show is every day. Tuesday through Thursday, I broadcast for 1 hour in the afternoon. I got one trade still going here in prop shop, so I'll just show it to you. And I'm just going to run a buy stop right here and see if it gets
Order
stopped. She
pending.
gets stopped right here. So I did have a NASDAQ short up here. I was unaware from just what the +2s were up there. So anyway, that's how I'm managing that. I'll be flat that in just a moment.
Order filled.
All right, any other questions? I think that'll be it. I just want to focus on this thing about what I was talking about. This 30% of your DRB is just something I kind of made up based on the conversation that I had today with Kevin. You don't necessarily have to pull in your now everyone can do this differently. I love the discipline of deciding, hey, I'm going to trade with a very small DRB for a couple weeks and see how well I can do. But I think the same form of discipline would be keep your DRB where it is, 250, 300, and just say I'm not going to let anything eat into my DRB. So the question around if I'm short at +1s, can I add at the +2s if I'm using that logic. I don't know. It depends on you. You can't add at the plus twos if you're stopped out before you get to the plus twos because that trade is more than a third of your DRB. Relatively simple math. So question, still don't understand why prop firms would want traders to have your strategy. Seems like it's prop firms' best interest to have gamblers. Of course, but they can do both. That's my argument is like, hey, create a program like what I'm talking about. Micros only, DRB enforced based on your starting account balance, no rules, instant payouts. Create that. See how it goes. See who buys it. But better yet, see how much you don't have to worry about them. Because any first-year computer scientist can have that cohort of traders and know exactly what their risk exposure is. Whereas when it comes to offering accounts where you can be instantly highly over-leveraged, get lucky, operate within all these rules, and still push a button and say, hey, give me $7,000 and you owe me $7,000 because I navigated through this silliness and I want my $7,000. They can still make a ton of money on all the gamblers and all those things and then operate. Like I said, the futures desk is already doing this. If you want something that's very close to what I'm describing, with the exception of being able to buy 5 accounts, go get an account at the futures desk. Use code TDG. They're doing this right now. Your account balance will start with 0. The accounts are relatively small. I think the most you can buy is 2. And pretty much everything I'm describing is what they have over there. The only change I'm looking for is a little bit more leverage, meaning 3 to 5 accounts, so that I can keep all of you greedy motherfuckers at bay who think like you're somewhat entitled to some massive amount of compensation for your outstanding trading. All right. Sure they do. They want you in one live account. There's a lot of firms that would eventually get you there. The prop shop is trying to thread this needle of somehow keeping the live account attractive, which is very difficult because you have to put a substantial amount of capital in there to make it as attractive as the carnival game that was going on before. We'll see how that goes. To be realistic about what the opportunity you have at the futures desk is, you could probably get to the point where you have $3,000 to $5,000, maybe $6,000 to $8,000 of actual live capital. But to be realistic on a risk-adjusted basis, it's probably going to be very difficult to generate more than 10 to 15% monthly returns, not compounded. You're not going to increase anything. You're just going to produce those on a monthly basis, which again, $1,000 to $1,500 pay your car payment, even if you have a Porsche. Not quite, not if you have a GT3, but you know what I'm picking up, what I'm putting down. You could supplement your income a little bit here. All right, I'm just going to hit the close button in
order filled.
These 2 accounts. I'm already flat there. Flat everywhere else. So the question, do you trade only one instrument at a time or multiple? In my trade room, I'll trade multiple instruments, usually MBT, MES, MYM, MNQ, sometimes the M2K. Friends don't let friends trade that. But if you come in or if you read the Prop Done Right book, you're going to hear from me that when you're starting out, you need to trade only the MYM. It's the only contract you should trade. How many people are going to have the discipline to do that until you pass a program, take a few payouts, earn the right to experiment with other contracts and other products? I don't recommend, I don't know, buy whichever one. They're all good. All right. I'm spicy like almost every day. No, I don't have that car anymore. I have a Taycan. That's all I have. Well, I have another one in, but that's my daily driver. All right, everybody, stay green and trade like you mean it. We'll see you at the stream tomorrow. Again, if you'd like to find out more, I highly recommend the way to do this is to do it in the morning with me, not in this afternoon with these sort of sleepy markets a lot of the time. A little bit of a drift higher right now. Could be opposite someday. We might get a nice, strong, weak close, strong closes, whatever. In my entire trading career, I very rarely traded the close at all. This whole pros close thing is just such bullshit. Pros close. Yeah, maybe on a tick by tick basis, but the opportunity is in the hour before and the hour after the New York session open. That's the best opportunity. That's the best way to see how to measure volatility and volume properly. So anyway, grab the ebook, check the links down below, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And hopefully we'll see you in the trade room. You can check it out for 2 weeks. Absolutely free. And by the way, I don't sell bots. I don't sell indicators. I don't sell software. I don't sell hopes and dreams. I don't sell any of that. All I offer is you to pay attention to what you pay for, which is eventually, if you find that you think you'd benefit from being in the room with several hundred other traders on a day-by-day basis, on our way to 300 to 400, maybe we get to 500 in the room. And my goal is by the end of the year to be at 1,000 people in that room. And you know what? Now we're well over 200, and it's very orderly. It's very supportive. There's not a bunch of bullshit and nonsense in the chat. I mean, when these rooms get bigger with a bunch of blowhards in them, that's not the community we got. We got communities that are proud of showing, hey, I have these 5 accounts. They're slightly underwater. I'm working my way back to even on them. I made $71 in 4 accounts today. I'm happy with that. Or, hey, I lost $115 in 9 accounts. No problem. Is that 115 in 9 accounts actually close to $1,000? Sure. But all it was is $115 in 1 account, because it'll cut both ways, of course, right? And down $115 in a $2,500 account is fine. It's fine if that happens 2 times in a row. Do what I'm teaching you, and you will never lose 3 days in a row again. And if you do it the way I tell you, okay? And you will know on that 3rd lost day, I rarely even lose 2 days in a row. And I'm talking in front of everybody all the time with the trades right on the screen. I can't even remember the last time that I hit my DRB 2 days in a row. I don't think I ever have. All right, that'll be it. Stay green, trade like you mean it. Where in the morning? The morning, it's go to tradersdevgroup.com. Let me just put this up here so you guys can see it. This is my website. All the links are in the description of the video that you're watching. So the trade room is right here. It's Monday through Friday, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Not really. I show up about 5 minutes late almost every day, but, bear with me. All right, everybody, stay green, trade like you mean it. We'll see you tomorrow. Be good. Bye-bye.
Order filled.